It's minimized. Don't need that up. Do not need that up. Oh my gosh, why is that up? Okay. All right, here we go. I think. Oh shit, we need that up. I do need quick fires up. Hold on. Rapid fires rather.
How dare you?
How dare I, indeed. All right, here we go. It starts in 3, 2, 1.
This better be important, Sylvanas. And more importantly, what are those scourge fiends doing here? The World of Warcraft podcast, so you don't have to. This is The Instance.
Everyone, welcome back to The Instance, and maybe you're here for the first time. Welcome to it. It is December 18th, 2020. We are here to talk about World of Warcraft and Blizzard at large. I'm Scott Johnson, joined today by Garrett Weinzierl. Hello, Garrett.
Hey, dude.
Dude,
where's my car?
Yeah, where's my car, dude? It's
I
nice
haven't
to
watched
have you
that
here.
movie in a long time.
Yeah, I understand. It's funny. You and I share an affliction today. My sciatic hurts, and your spine hurts. So
I have a pinched nerve, so
yeah.
I'm hiding a heating pad and a scarf, doing my best Patrick Beja impression.
Yep. We will now sing a rendition of "Over 30 and We Know It" by Scott and Garrett.
If you're over 30 and you know it, get some pain. Over 30 and you know it, get some pain.
There you go. Over 30 and you know it, and your back's starting to show it. If you're over 30 and you know it, you're lame. There.
Yeah.
That's the entire song.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm going to have to change the lyrics to What's My Age Again to Nobody Likes You When You're 33.
Oh, there you go. I like that too.
Yeah, add 10 years to that.
Nice. Well, it's good to be here. We're gonna do a show regardless and push through. We got a bunch to talk about in World of Warcraft. Also, a little special conversation I had with Patrick Beja outside of the show that you at home are going to hear, and live people will not. But I had a pretty lengthy discussion with him about a certain technical alpha he was invited to this week, and he is currently playing, and what he thinks about said alpha. We'll get to all that in a minute, but let's start with these side quests. Big changes coming to Torghast. It's almost like they listen to the show, and everyone else's show for that matter, because we've all been sort of saying it. But big stuff coming to Torghast, and soon. I know there's a couple of people in our chat that are literally in their Torghast runs right now, or a Torghast run right now. We wish you luck while we discuss this, and I really, truly hope that you don't get feared 50 times to Sunday while you're in your run to level 6 of that run, okay? Good luck to you. Because fears can F right off. See these two birds, Garrett? These birds are for the fears. No more fears. Tears for fears is what I have. Anyway, if you're likely ready to rip your hair out about some of these things, like those fears you can't interrupt, I think we all knew something was going to come, something big, maybe integral to the experience of running Torghast, since it's such an integral part of the game now. And we've got some tuning coming. Here's a quote from Blizzard. In summary, we want to reduce the length of a Torghast run, increase players' success rates for a few specializations that are struggling more than others, and give players more options to deal with when it comes to challenges in Torghast. So, here's the basics of the breakdown. There's an entire patch or a post on their forums /site that explain all this. But layer difficulty nerfed across the board. So, it's going to be less hard. And that mostly means for everyone but a few very lucky classes, and mostly tanks and healers, honestly. They're sort of tearing through this content, not having too much trouble, except for maybe some boss stuff and some crowd control stuff.
Tearing through it is an interesting choice of words. We are getting through without issue, but it still takes for goddamn ever.
Yeah, it's still an hour sometimes. I mean, the 6th level run I did the other day, 2 days ago, it was easily that.
The 6th level run I did last week was great, but it took about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
The 7 level run I tried this week took about an hour before dying on floor 4 twice.
Yeah.
So I wasted about 2 hours there. Went back to 6, still couldn't beat it on 6.
Yeah.
So I wasted my entire evening and got nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
And kind of got to a point where I was like, "Oh, this is awful, and I hate it now."
Why am I doing this? Yeah.
And then they nerfed it, and I still had a really bad layer 7 experience post the nerf, where again I got about 40 minutes in, got the level 4 of a layer 7, and could not beat the boss.
Yeah, well,
there's just nothing I could do because I got offered absolute shit abilities.
Yeah.
And so my only option was to just take my ball and go home and start over all over again. And have had just so this week I've wasted roughly 4 hours and got nothing to show for it in Torghast. So Torghast can kiss my ass this week.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, part of it for me is the game needs to be more rewarding for partial runs, and then the difficulty curve is more forgivable because you can go home with something.
I think they need to figure out, like, is this a chore you run every week because you need Soul Ash, or is this a thing that I'm supposed to lose time on? Because when it's both, it feels horrible.
Yeah.
If it's something I'm supposed to lose time on and not get my my cap for the week, it feels really, really bad.
I want it to be fun and rewarding. Right now, it's a mix of fun and frustrating. So we got to balance that out.
Yes, it's the highs are medium and the lows are underground. That's where Torghast is.
Yeah, I don't disagree. They also said health nerfed across the board is happening. That means every character, not you, the character, but the creatures you're fighting, all the NPCs, the mobs rather, will be have their health nerfed. Damage reduced for 4 and 5 player groups. So that means you'll be less able to just annihilate the place. I assume they're talking about your damage. They didn't get into that very far, but major cooldowns reset at the end of a floor. I really like that idea because sometimes I'm being way too precious with some of my longer cooldowns and holding on to them for too long, and then don't use them when maybe I should because I know that right around the corner I'm going to have to fight another floor, and I don't want to have to wait for those cooldowns. So that's kind of nice. I like that.
I use them like crazy.
Yeah. Anima cells drop more often, and rares / starting anima cells offer more and stronger anima power respectively. So those upgrades and affixes are going to be more powerful and better. Went on to say nerfs to difficult enemies like Massive Crusher, Tower Sentinel, Skeletal Remains, and more. So that's coming. Torments that spawn creatures' health and damage reduced by 50%. Jeez. That's a big drop. And upper reaches health bonuses massively reduced to 10% bonus health. Unnatural power no longer prevents CC effects at 10 stacks. So
that's a big one. This is what was just ruining my night earlier in the week when I was trying to get through Torghast.
Yeah, they
into that. I wasn't originally looking at the buffs that were stacking on the enemy. I thought it was an enrage effect because it was hitting it like 25% on the dot almost every single time.
Mm-hmm.
It was real rough. And the wing this week was Fractured Halls, I think.
Yeah.
The caster, door to the next level bosses, not the final boss, but like the level bosses.
Yeah.
That are casters that run that do Sin Bolt and also pacify you.
Yeah.
Were the biggest. I have never hated this game more.
Yeah, they can.
WoW has never made me angrier, and I've been spawn camped.
Yeah, they can eat a turd. Those guys, because they just make it unfun. It's just like it's too much. It's not good.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are listening to this saying, buck up, it's supposed to be hard. No, I want the difficulty curve, but it's needed balancing and tuning, and they know that, and that's why they're doing it. So
I want Endless Halls to be hard. I want the thing I have to do every week for Soul Ash to be achievable in a time that doesn't make me want to rip hair out.
Right. Who wants to do that? Literally no one. If there is someone who's like that, you're a sadist. Why do you want to do that to yourself? And this is my favorite.
Hey,
new
no
feature
judgment.
Of the game.
No judgment if you like it. That's
whatever.
Cool.
I don't want to kink shame here or anything.
But Soul Ash is so integral to this expansion.
Yeah.
It's just like, I just give me my Soul Ash.
Yeah, and give it to me. I mean, this is the big thing. Like, give me something meaningful to do to get it, but can we try to make it not feel like work? That's always the thing with these things. And I want to make something really super clear here because our main discussion today is about travel, and I have a lot to say about that based on the last couple of weeks of play. But like a lot of things in this expansion, my biggest hangups right now are relatively, Torghast is kind of major, but relatively small stuff. And I think that's a good sign, actually, because when the game itself, the expansion itself, is a strong showing enough that I'm left complaining about smaller things, some quality of life stuff that maybe needs improvements or used to be there but isn't now or whatever. I'm much happier to be nitpicking those things than I am saying major systems are failing because they're not overall. I feel like this is good. Their attention to Torghast is going to be important for that particular system. But overall, I really like I almost said insurance gains. Why am I saying that?
Insurance gains?
That's not what I mean. When you got the faction shit. What's it called? Faction
Covenant?
Rep games. Gains.
Gaining.
I couldn't get that word out. I don't know why that game.
Please reset your Scott Johnson.
Yeah, that word was playing like a Gears of War, freaking hide behind cover kind of mechanic right then. But anyway, that's what I mean is rep gains. I like that way better now than I have in a long time in the game. I really like the way Renown works. I really like the way Covenant missions work. I like so much about what's happening that it's just the little things are bubbling up now, little stuff that's fixable, whether their priorities or not. I don't know, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that, man. Like I'm still over the moon with this expansion. This is the first week I got real mad at it though, which was the Torghast stuff, which has been nerfed, but still had a rough post-nerf experience with it. I think I'm just gonna do layer 6s and just give up the Soul Ash that I missed this week because it's just not worth the time investment.
It's not going to happen for you. No Soul Ash for you. Tell us about, speaking of our souls and whether they're in trouble or not, tell us what Greg Ghostcrawler Street announced this week.
Yeah, especially if your soul is concerned about how much free time it has. Former Blizzard designer Greg, you might know him better as Ghostcrawler, last name Street, let it fly that Riot is making an MMO, and they are hiring for it as well. In his tweet, he said, quote, "I have news. My recent job at Riot has been to help develop the League universe, which we're going to need because it is time. My new job is to kick off a big, some might say massive game that many of you and many Rioters have been asking us to create. Yes, we're hiring." He went on to just beat us over the head with it that, yes, he was hinting at an MMO, in case it wasn't already obvious.
Yeah, it seemed obvious to me in the language where he says, because, let's see, we're kicking off something big.
The parenthetical.
Some might say massive. But later he had to clarify because someone asked, wait, are you guys making an MMO? He says, yes, we're making an MMO.
Yeah, we're making an MMO.
This is significant for me because this is Greg Street talking. Anybody else in charge of this project, I think I'd care a little bit less. There's a legacy to Greg that I think is palpable in the WoW community in a way that isn't with others that have left the company. When he left in 2015, late 2014, whatever it was, one of his last things he ever did was sit and try to answer questions at our live show at BlizzCon that year when asked about the new flying thing, which is when that started. You're not going to get to fly at the end of this expansion. You're going to have to wait and do some stuff. And they were talking about not letting you fly and gating it, and it was very controversial. That was kind of the last we heard then, but I thought, oh, Riot's hired him. Okay, what's he going to do? And that was all stuff that didn't seem like Greg stuff, like working on the League team, working on some other stuff. Oh, we've got a bunch of projects underway. So he's helped with that.
He's got a lot of experience balancing, right?
Yes, lots of balance experience.
Game balance is applicable to more than just the same genre of game that you're balancing on.
Well, and explaining themselves a lot, right? Like he was a great mouthpiece for Blizzard.
I'm with you too. Ghostcrawler still carries clout with me. I like Greg, despite how many times he nerfed Paladin. I like the way the dude's brain works.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, hell, here we have it. Scott, a Ghostcrawler tweet with more information about Riot's next game than an entire trailer of Mass Effect.
Yeah, it is a little bit weird for them to basically make this announcement through a vice president's tweet online, but having him there and being kind of bigwig over this particular project has me more curious about this. And it's really a world I haven't cared that much about. The lore of those characters I don't care much about.
I don't even know the lore of those characters. I know it exists, and I could not be less interested in figuring out what it is.
Because MOBA characters, to me, with the exception of Heroes of the Storm, tend to be analogs, and in Dota's case, like straight up ripoffs, because they were, it was based in Warcraft 3, but they're basically analogs to all the stuff you could do in Warcraft. So Warcraft character types, like the Lich King, and like a Wisp, and like whatever, like this combination of different character types. And not so much characters that also are archetypes as well, which is
I don't know what you're talking about. Pudge is the most unique and original character design I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Although now I'm talking Dota. I know the name of literally no League characters, so I can't help you there.
I am zero expert either. I really like their new card game. I know you're not super sold on it, but I like it. The Legends of Runeterra.
Yeah, I mean, you're not alone, man. You're
Yeah,
not alone.
I think it's cool.
I really do not care for it, but it's making Hearthstone sweat.
Yeah, it's got a nice thing going on there. I really enjoy what little I played of Valorant. I'm terrible, so I just get my ass handed to me, but I kind of like what Valorant's doing. Like, they've got big stuff that's happened lately and all kind of recently. Like, this is all new stuff. And now to hear they're working on this shouldn't be, I guess, a giant surprise, except to say, this is a Tencent owned company. Probably means this is meant to be a major impact in the Chinese market or in the Asian markets, as well as here. But having Greg there with his finger on the pulse of the thing makes me actually interested to see what they freaking do. So let's keep our eyes on the prize there and see what the hell happens, Greg. And Greg still listens to the show, so he may be hearing all this and just like rolling his eyes because of how little we know. But Greg, that just means you got to come on and we'll do an interview again. Let's do that.
Well, Scott, speaking of things that we're not sure if we should be excited about, what's going on with Diablo Immortal?
Well, I was going to tell you all of it, but I'll only tell you part of it because it turns out Patrick Bejas had his hands on his very own copy, his own digital phone copy of the technical alpha that was just announced via video by Wyatt Chang. He is, of course, the head of that particular development team. He took to the internet with a long-awaited update on what is happening with Diablo Immortal these days. We have a much better understanding of what that game is as a result. Some key takeaways: the story set between 2 and 3. This is mostly happening in Australia, not the story, but the test. So if you have access, you're mostly in that part of the world. There are some U.S. and European-based playtesters, Patrick being one of them, but it's rare. It's only going to go for like 9 or 10 days for this phase. One would assume a beta shortly thereafter, but we don't know that either. There's some interesting notes he mentioned. West March is the hub for multiplayer. The itemization is all new. Legendaries are all self-found, not tradable. They really pushed hard on what of this game is free, which is most of it, and what you would pay for, which is 2 or 3 things if you wanted to, but even then you didn't have to. They really seem to be hammering that. This features upgradable weapons. Me and Patrick get into that, so I won't talk too much about it. And there's a bunch of other systems like Elder Rifts and level cap being shorter for the beta or the alpha, but longer when it comes out. No energy system. There'll be a battle pass. Like, there's a lot of little things here and there. But what I'm going to do, instead of trying to explain it all, I'm going to let Patrick explain what he saw, what he likes, what he doesn't like, what he's worried about, and what he is optimistic about. And you'll be surprised how much of this, from a non-mobile gamer like Patrick, he's actually excited about. So, without further ado, Patrick and I have a conversation. All right, let me mark this so I know where to insert it. And we're back. Thank you, Patrick, for all those incredible details. And I should have mentioned before, if anyone out there's like, I don't want to hear a thing about Immortal, I could have warned you, just skip 40 minutes ahead, and you can skip that entire conversation if you want to. But I'm saying this now, so it won't matter. I'm going to have to go put it in post maybe. Anyway, there's that. Hey, Garrett, Ian Hazakostas, our best friend to everyone, because we want him to make the game we love, did an interview with Polygon. What did he have to say?
Boy, 40 minutes. This is the longest side quest ever. Ian did an interview with Polygon, as you mentioned, talking about the changes coming to Torghast that we also touched on apparently over an hour ago. A couple of takeaways to mention here. First of which is, what's the problem? And the problem was and somewhat still, solo tanks and healers were dominant in Torghast, hence the changes that came on December 15th, which in my opinion were terrible. Blizzard was ramping the difficulty, of course, of the first few floors to avoid the trap where players would get to the final boss and realize they were in over their head and felt like they wasted their time. The beta didn't prepare them for player behavior on live servers, they said, where players were hopping into layers that they weren't geared for just to get Soul Ash, which is what's happening now in the live game.
Yeah.
They also said that players are able to tell when a mythic raid is out of reach due to the gear that it dropped, but Torghast has no such metric, and thus this was a communication issue. I think, God, I disagree with so much that was said in this. If layer 1 was a normal dungeon, then layer 6 would be like a +7 key, and layer 8 would be a mythic +13 or +14.
Jeez.
They went on to talk about what the future goals are, and they want to reduce the length so it's not an hour-long grind. Please, God, get this in sooner than later. Increase success rate for specs which are struggling. Make powers fun and diverse, not just a stronger version of your rotation. Make it clear how hard a layer is supposed to be. Said that goal number 1 and 2 should be fixed in the coming days, while 3 and 4 are more long-term, with Torghast lasting throughout all of Shadowlands. So I'm okay with most of this. The thing that just makes me go, oh, come on, is when they're like, Torghast has no such metric to know how hard it is, so it was a communication issue. I'm like, no, I think it's a game design issue. If you set a Soul Ash cap, and you're like, if you don't do the hardest damn thing you possibly can, you're not going to hit that cap.
Yeah.
You're basically goading me to say, hey, beat your head against this for hours until you get the thing you know you can only get, and you will fall behind permanently if you don't get it.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. It is a design issue. And at least they recognize what needs to be done. Well, my worry is this is going to end up being one of those aspects to the game that just goes in perpetuity of argument. Like, Blizzard will make a little tweak and we're just going to be, that wasn't enough. And then they'll make another tweak and say that's not enough. And I'm trying to think of a good system in like BFA that was like this. But every time they tried to do something to islands to fix it, it just felt like nothing ever fixed it. I think we're better shape here because the core idea of Torghast is solid.
Yeah,
it's solid.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying the whole time, which is I don't think any one system in Shadowlands is inherently broken like Azerite was in BFA. Like, there was just no fixing that in my mind. I think it was just inherently a flawed system.
Yeah.
And I don't think we have anything like that in Shadowlands. And, I will live not having max Soul Ash. It annoys me, but I will live.
You'll survive.
Whereas all of BFA, I was just like, can we just nuke Azerite armor from orbit, abandon it entirely, and never speak its name again?
Yeah.
My personal feeling on it is like Shadowlands is in such a great place. Which, as you mentioned earlier, and I think I mentioned last week, it's like, this is so good that the little things really stick out.
Yep. So we're going to talk about those now. Well, one of them anyway. We're going to talk about travel for a second. And we've mentioned it before, but there's been a lot more. I feel like once you hit about Renown 9, you've kind of seen the world pretty much as you're going to see of it. And you've got your hand around it and you kind of know what's going on. It's around then that the inconsistencies and some of its failings as a traversable world are starting to show up for me. To me, it feels really broken right now in that way, and is at the very least, I would define it as very inconsistent.
Can I give you a hard time?
Yeah, go ahead.
I couldn't tell because the last 30 tweets on the instance account had nothing to do with the fact that you were not enjoying how hard it is to travel around the game right now.
I mean, I really, yes, I have been publicly venting that for about a week. And so now I feel
every time I fire up Twitter, I'm just like, oh, wow, Scott's still really mad about travel.
Well, some of it really annoys me. Like, for example, just bring back the whistle. What are we doing? Like, that thing worked as a functional device for the World Quest portion of your journey in 2 previous expansions and worked really well. So keep using that. Why are we not using that? That makes no sense to me that there's no whistle this time, especially given that there aren't a lot of flight paths. Now, you could argue Bastion, as an example, isn't a gigantic continent space island thing. It's not gigantic in by the definition of, say, I don't know, the freaking antler horn Torn place. What's it called? High Mountain. It's not like High Mountain where that's a much vaster space. So I understand that, but I still think it's just too damn far. You got a world quest out in the middle of nowhere, and for me to do anything for the next one, I got to ride back to a flight point at the very least, and then flight point my way over to there. And if those world quests are on a different covenant, you're talking about get to a flight point, get on that flight point, adhere to whatever crappy path it takes, get through Oribos, fly all the way through Oribos, and then fly all the way back out to Torghast, or to, let's say, I don't know, one of the other ones. Doesn't matter. Maldraxxus, and then get all the way over to that thing, and then you're like, man, that I could have gotten up, eaten lunch, and taken 3 poops. Like, that stuff's taken way too long. So I have some ideas on this. Whistle, bring it back. Flight paths, more of them. Just more of them. Not a ton. Don't give them every 5 feet, but, just a few. Spot them around a little bit more. Maybe, just maybe, a single portal space in each covenant to take you to other covenants would be cool. Because right now, or at the very least, that you can portal to Oribos without having to fly there and do the whole interstitial, like, ooh, I'm in the time wormhole thing right now part of it. Like, I like that stuff the first few times I'm flying through there and during the story stuff for sure. But now it is just a slog to fly anywhere. So let me have quicker paths back and forth. There's a way to balance that so it's not too easy and make it feel a little bit more, I don't know, a little less like just inconsistent and long for long's sake. Okay? Because right now it doesn't feel like I'm getting any benefit from that length. It's just like, well, someone could take that comment out of context. But for me to get from Maldraxxus all the way to Revendreth is a freaking nightmare. And in the olden times, it isn't so much. There might still be a big flight, but you could portal to Dalaran and then just fly down to the thing you want to go to. Like that path was much quicker. The Dalaran Hearthstone was short. Right now, if you want to cheat the Hearthstone system, you got to hearth back to Oribos, or some people, the way they're doing it is they're hearthing back to the portal room in Orgrimmar or in Stormwind, and then just immediately hopping back in.
Well, you can do that with the guild cloaks, which I currently have both of them in my bags.
Right. They just have to be in your bags,
I can go back to the portal room, and then I can jump to Oribos. So my Hearthstone is actually set to my Covenant Sanctum, because I'm doing more there than I am in Oribos. And then I use the cloaks and also the Dalaran Hearthstone to get my butt back to Oribos through the portal room portals.
Right. That works as a workaround at least every 30 minutes or whatever. Is that how long it is? Current Hearthstone.
One cloak is 4 hours. One cloak is 8 hours. The Dalaran Hearthstone is 15 minutes.
Okay, so so you're just there's a rotation to try to maximize that, but that's such a workaround. That is not.
It doesn't. Listen, and we're probably gonna get 20 emails from engineers who are like, just get the wormhole. I'm like, I'm not changing my freaking profession to get around obnoxious aspects of this expansion. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing. I know it exists. I get it.
Sure.
Just like how every time I mention Maldraxxus's abilities are lame, all the PvP peers are like, but it's so good. The bone shield's so good in PvP. I'm like, that's cool. That's not how I play this game.
Right. Yeah. We understand someone somewhere is loving this, and that's great. And I don't, again, it's the small stuff sticking out because the big stuff is really hitting. And so that's why this stuff is bugging me, honestly. It wouldn't bug me, I think, as much otherwise.
Yeah. It has kept me out of Revendreth a lot. I don't go there unless I really need something from it.
And do you remember how much you thought you were going to freaking live in Revendreth? You were going to live there.
I love the zone, man. It's so cool, but it also sucks to get around. It is the worst.
It's bad.
It is so vertical.
No.
You're either going out of your way to get a flight path because it's faster than waiting for the elevator, or you're waiting for the elevator.
Yeah. It's a weight game in there, and in a way that is that's the consistency thing I'm talking about. That makes that zone feel exponentially harder to navigate than Ardenweald or any other zone. It just feels hard to get around in there in a way that is unique to Revendreth and makes me avoid the place.
Every zone too. What also irks me is every zone has that one section where like everything's elite and it's crammed full.
Yeah.
And you just got to run for your life and hope you don't get dismounted to get to the world quests that are for some reason tucked away at the farthest corner of the darkest region of the butt of this zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just like, why is this a thing?
Yeah, you're not kidding. And there was an elite that I needed to get, and it was down, I don't remember what zone I was in. It might have been Maldraxxus, but it was a similar thing. There's like a gauntlet of elites and really hard and just tons of mobs, like an aggroable nightmare of mobs. And I'm able to pop into freaking moose mode and not be unmounted even. And even then, I got killed 3 times trying to get through there because all I can do is ground mount through that tunnel. There was no around it sort of method. So eventually, the way I did it is I hung around out of aggro distance in the front of that gate and waited for a bunch of players to come because I know other people want to get that content. And I waited for a wad of like 5-6 people to show up for this 40-man kill or 25-man kill, and then just followed them because they got all the aggro, and that's how I got in.
Yeah.
That's a weird
thing.
It's
another weird thing, right? Like I don't think it's the end of the world, but we're a month in now.
Yeah.
And I'm already feeling the world quest burnout. where I'm just like, and it's not because I'm sick of doing the world quests, because honestly, I've been not spending nearly as much time in the other 3 zones as I have my Covenant zone, because they're just so prohibitively annoying to travel around.
Yeah.
So I actually still haven't seen a great deal of the world quests. Like the first 2 weeks, I was like capping out my anima. I don't even know why. I have like nothing I can do with all that anima.
Right.
But I mean, now I'm kind of digging it because I don't need to worry about it as much. So I'm like, yeah, I can just run all my mission. My mission table can always be going, and I never need to worry about anima. So like, it's not going to waste. But there's just this sense of, well, if it's not an Ardenweald, I mean, is it going to give me a serious eye level upgrade, or am I running out of anima? Then I'm not really interfacing with it. I'm just kind of ignoring it and focusing on, because there's still so much. It still takes a long time to do Torghast.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of good reasons to be running dungeons right now.
Like dailies in the maw. Dailies in the maw make me want to pick scabs and eat them. I hate it. I hated it.
Oh no, I like the maw. I'm gonna go to bat for the maw. I think that I like the maw feeling oppressive.
I don't mind the oppression. I don't even mind the eye of the jailer stuff. I don't mind that stuff. What I don't like is I just feel like it's scattershot. There's just again, more gauntlets to get through to get to where your stuff is, and it just feels like trash for trash's sake, and I just don't like that feeling. I mean, here's the thing: 9.1 we're supposed to get flying, and it's not tied to Pathfinder. That's all good news, because
it's tied to renown, but they haven't said what level.
Right. And that's a problem.
Or if they're adding more renown levels. Right. Because if it comes out and they're like, surprise, 50 more levels of renown, it's really not that much different than, surprise, here's a whole new faction you have to grind to Exalted with.
Yeah.
With the one exception that, like, so far, the way we've gotten renown is like just logging in every week and doing the quests that they give you. Like, it's not hard. It's not hard. Really like that renown. So at least so far, has just been, hey, are you just playing the game?
Yeah, you playing
somewhat regularly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
here you go.
Do these like, blue. Do these blue. If you do your blue shield quests, you're pretty much moving on. Like, you're getting good, and that's where I'm enjoying the most out of this thing. That's where I'm having the most fun. I did that Bwamsamdi thing. I don't know if the non-horde people do that or not. Do you guys do that? I guess if you're in the if you do Night Fae, you do it. I guess.
You're talking very specifically about one of the Night Fae quests.
Yeah, where you get to go hang out with him and talk to him. He sends you with
that was last week that unlocked for me.
Awesome, dude. Awesome.
Yes, I am playing Alliance, so yeah.
That's right. That's a Covenant thing, but or part of the overall.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything that's faction specific.
Yeah, I haven't either. Now that I think about it,
in Shadowlands,
that was more. Well, that's definitely BFA was all about.
Have you done this week's for Night Fae?
No,
it's
yet.
Also pretty cool.
Not yet. I hope I'm there.
It's soon. A little longer than I wanted it to be. But it was pretty
cool. Yeah. I enjoyed the hell out of that. It was just good to see him again, and I like the story.
Oh yeah. Have you done the dungeon yet?
I haven't done the dungeon yet.
You haven't done the other side?
How is it? Is it good?
Oh, Scott, it is. Well, let's see. I guess you walked into it if you did that quest, so you saw the inside.
I saw the inside of it. I did,
because that has got to be one of the coolest looking dungeons I have ever stepped foot inside.
It looks pretty neat. I meant to start queuing and stuff, and I didn't. I also was supposed to run LFR this week. I had full plans. I was gonna get in there.
Oh my gosh, Scott!
Knock it out. I know.
I'm out of here.
So that's why I was gonna ask you. Did you run? I assume you ran that wing. How'd it go?
Yeah, I ran LFR. I got my best in slot Protection Warrior legendary recipe, and I also got a pretty decent damage trinket, so I'm happy with it.
Nicely done.
I couldn't believe it. I got in as a damage quicker than I did as a tank.
Really?
To give you any indication of how many damn people are running this thing.
I mean, that's partly why I held off, because I was just like, I don't want to queue forever.
Dude, I sat down Tuesday morning. I looked up videos. I opened a Google Doc. I made tank notes. And then I queued up, and it's like, do you want to do damage? I'm like, I did all this studying the tank for no good reason. Damn it. Because I remember doing it at the end of BFA.
Yeah.
I was in Nyalotha week 1. Like, it was actually kind of hard. You needed to know what you were doing as a tank, and you need to be able to explain it to the other tank in case they didn't know what they were doing. So I made some notes then.
Oh, nice.
So I did the same thing here, but I got thrown in as a damage. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm going over to Fury. I don't have a legendary for this spec, but this is how this goes.
Yeah, I've been trying to stay.
We wiped on every boss at least once, except for one of the bosses. We one-shot, I think, the middle boss. We wiped on the first boss once, and then we got it. One-shot the second boss, and then we wiped on the third boss once, and then we got it the second time.
Okay. Well, see, look at you doing your dues. That's what you did.
Yeah.
You got your dues done.
I mean, as always, first week of a new wing is the best time to run it because that's when people have the most patience. Because like we were dying and then no one was flaming. Everyone was like, "Hey, this is what we did wrong. This is what we need to focus on." And
yeah, I do like
everyone
that.
pulled it together and did it right.
You're also going to have the most. Well, like you said, you can pop in there quicker with DPS than ever. So that's cool. Here's what I want. Renown 9 or 10 should be when we get our flying. They're not going to do that, but that's what I want.
But we're already past that.
I know. That's my point. Like that was where I hit and I went, and I got a few emails about this week and a couple of tweets. They're like, it's right around 9 or 10 that you just feel like, yeah, I've earned the right to fly now. Quit making me run so far. And if you're never going to give me a whistle, gotta give me something. So make it be flying and make it be around 10. They won't do it. I know, but I want them to.
I think every expansion since, Kata, where they just got it so wrong, it was insane. No, I would say every expansion except Pandaria, I felt like we've gotten flying too late. And so basically since Pathfinder started, I think they wait too long.
I agree.
I'm not inherently, because everyone's heard me go on Pathfinder rants. So everyone's like, oh, you just want flying from the beginning. I'm like, no, we had it in Cataclysm. It was terrible. That's not what I'm asking for.
We don't want that.
Yeah.
They swung too far the other
in
direction.
Lich King, I liked that they designed 2 of the highest level zones for flying. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It was part of the living experience. I liked it a lot in Lich King. And then in Pandaria, it was like, are you max level? Cool. You can now go get flying.
Yeah.
I liked the way that was done.
I loved how it was introduced in Burning Crusade, because there were places in Burning Crusade that were part of like early zones like Hellfire that you couldn't get to until you got flying. And so it was this like extra feeling of earning something, because you not only were able to finally get flying, train it, afford it, buy it, have it. Now I can go up on these cliffs that I knew something was fishy up there, and there's all kinds of content and quests and shit up there. That was great.
Yeah,
I love that.
But like really, when it comes down to Pathfinder, to me, I think like most expansions, I felt like 2 months in, I've wanted to fly, and it's always way longer than that.
Yeah.
But Shadowlands, just because of what a pain it is to get around, I'm like, I'm a month in, and I'm like, yeah, I could go for flying right now.
Yeah, I'm ready right now.
I would not mind if flying just came down the pipe tomorrow.
But if they come out and go, Renown 50, I'm going to break something. I don't think I can deal with it.
Well, you don't know, though, because by then you might already be 50.
That's a good point. Renown, like you said, has been coming pretty hand over fist. It's not like I'm
giving them the benefit of the doubt here. Like, and again, since this is all coming from a place of I am still really having a good time here.
Yeah.
Like, none of this is, I'm sure this episode's coming off kind of strong, because I kind of feel like it's coming off a little strong.
Maybe.
I'm just having such a damn good time. But there's just there's so many things that are just like, sticking out. It's just like, why is it this way? Why can't I do actually want to do everything. Like in BFA, I was just like, oh my God, I hate this Azerite system so much. I just give up. I know I'm not going to be current with it, so I'm just not going to go. If I'm bored with world quests, I'm just not doing them. And that's how I played the game, because I didn't want to do it anymore.
Right.
But in Shadowlands, I want to do everything, and I want to work on alts because I want to see the other covenants.
Yeah.
And right now, it takes like half my damn day just to do world quests, and it's a little much. And I realize I don't have to do them, but I want to.
Yeah.
And I feel like the game is telling me, sorry, you need to pick where your effort goes on a single tune. And I realize I'm the type of person that also goes play Heroes and plays Hearthstone, but it's.
Well, I'll tell you what,
it's a lot.
I remember in BFA thinking, oh, it's a lot to ask me to go down to the ship, talk to Wiener Boy, and get flown over to Alliance Town to do these other world quests today that are not over on this half of the world in Zandalari Town. Boy, that's a bummer. That takes forever. Now I think maybe that was nothing. Because some of these just simple need to get to Oribos takes forever. Or to get from Oribos, okay, here's a long one. To fly, let's say my cooldowns are all janked on Hearthstones and cloaks and stuff. For me to go from Oribos to Ardenwield's Covenant camp zone thing, or whatever what are they called? Covenant, whatever they are. Your little
Sanctums.
Hub. Sanctums, thank you. For me to get from Oribos to Sanctum, it's nightmarishly long. It's not like it's because there's only one way in from Oribos, and it's through that tree, and you're just there you are. But it's like 90% down the continent that is Ardenweald to get to the damn thing. It's just dumb. That stuff is dumb.
I realize, a lot of our focus here has been on, like, we understand there's ways around it, but it doesn't seem straightforward or like particularly great game design, and that's why we're not giving it its due.
Yeah.
now's the point, Scott, where I do really want to sell you on get all your cloaks. If you're for some reason you banked your dollar on Hearthstone, which it sure as shit sounds like you did.
No, I have.
Get it out.
Yeah.
Because it takes so long, even just to get around zones that you're currently questing in, you will have surpassed 15 minutes at some point. So back to Dalaran, through the portal, to the portal room, back to Oribos. Go from Oribos to where you need to fly.
Blech. I'll do it.
Listen, I know it. I know. But for the
right.
sake of the listeners who are like, it's not that bad, Scott.
All
and
right,
also
fair enough.
for our own integrity, because we've been saying, well, my other complaint is it just takes so long to get around each zone. It's like, if that is true, which it is, your Hearthstones are off cooldown. So set your main Hearthstone to your damn Covenant Sanctum, and then use Dalaran Hearthstone and your guild tabards to get yourself back to the portal rooms.
Also, can they be more consistent about where you can mount in Oribos on the main floor, please?
They don't want you crowding around the vendors and Bolvar.
Totally fine with that. Here's what they should do: not let us ride.
Also,
in there
you're
at
a
all.
Night Fae, man. You can be in your blue fox form the whole time.
I get that, but here's what you do in there. And I can go cat too as a druid. So
you're a druid. I'm sorry. All right, never mind. Everybody, you can just stop listening to any complaints Scott has about. Wait, hold up. Listeners at home, did we just find the rarest mofo on the planet? I think we found the only druid on Earth that doesn't love the Maw.
Yeah.
Because of the sense of superiority the Maw gives druids.
You're not
Everyone
wrong,
else is like, oh, the Maw takes so long, and every druid just comes out of the woodwork. Oh, you should have played a druid.
Yeah, but what does that tell you, though?
It's the nipple-rubbing cable employee South Park bit. That's druids in the Maw right now.
Yeah, but what that tells you how truly bad it is to travel around in there, because if a druid's complaining, just imagine how bad it is for everybody else. Is what I'm saying.
Listen, I'm not a druid. I'm a warrior. I have no movement speed increases. I am a Night Fae, but that is not long enough for the Maw.
No.
But I like it. I get what they were going for with the Maw, and I think they nailed it. Like, and I realize, I've seen people complaining. They're like, they invented a problem, and then they're solving it because you can get portals. You can unlock portals eventually in the Maw.
That's true. Yeah.
But I'm like, that's just game design. At the end of the day, you don't need to be playing World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is a problem that's been invented for you to solve. Like,
yeah, I mean that's stuff's progression, and that's the game's always
and
had
to me, the Maw is the place where I've felt the progression, and it feels good. Like I am spending less time in the Maw. It is going faster, and I am noticing my increase in power. Whereas in all of the other zones where I'm doing world quests, whether it's Arden Wheel, whether it's Bastion, whatever, I'm killing things faster, but I'm still taking just as damn long to walk to the next thing I need to go do.
Yeah.
Whereas the Maw, because it's, I think it's still, there's hard enemies to kill. The combat feels meaningful, and so the travel doesn't stand out as much to me in the Maw. Plus, I unlocked like the harpoon thing, and that thing, my God, helps so much out there.
Well, grats on the incredibly deep cut South Park nipple rubbing reference. Well done on that. That was pretty good. Yeah. That's a good episode. It's pretty good. All right, we're going to do something a little bit new today, and it's this.
It is with optimism that I address you today.
I'm going to give you a mod of the week. Yeah, that's right. I'm looking at mods again, trying to figure out my
Where's
mod
Patrick?
strategy. Yeah, you'd think he'd be here. Wee, poo-poo.
But you just recorded a thing with Patrick, and you didn't have him do mod of the week?
Nope, I didn't. I should have. Why didn't we do that? I don't know. We'll talk to him. Instead, I had Sire Butthole say it. But anyway, I'm going to talk today about Rare Scanner, a mod I use now. It's an add-on you've probably seen in the top 10. It's probably not that unusual for a lot of you, but if you have missed it or never heard of it, it's a World of Warcraft mod that detects whether a vignette has appeared in the minimap. All right, a vignette is a little icon added in the 5.4 patch that appeared as a skull or a rare or with other icons for events and treasures on your minimap. So you may have heard of all that. Since then, 5.0 was what? Pandaria? Whatever it was. Anyway, since 7.0 patches appeared as a star. Anyway, Rare Scanners displays a button in the middle of your screen with the name of the rare found and a little miniature of said rare and a bar with the loot that drops from that rare. And what rare, whether it's rare loot or not, it would be, I guess, from the rare. Anyway, at the same time, it plays an alarm sound, so it can warn you when you aren't at your computer. You can click on the button, and it will add a skull over the NPC and target it to make it easier to find. I like stuff like this. It's a little bit of easy mode, but I like to be reminded when I'm
installing it right now because I've never used it before.
Oh, it's very good. I recommend it.
Well, I have one I'm passionate about. Would you like me to save it for next week, or just tell you now?
Actually, hold on to it because I want to make it a regular thing, and we'll do one a week. So hold on to that.
Okay. Remind me next week because I'm not used to adding this in.
Yeah, no, this is great. We'll watch for that next week. So be here or be square. All right, check this out. Time for us to play rapid fire questions, where I ask Garrett a set of questions that were submitted by you at theinstance.net/questions, and or question rather. And he did the same for me. Got him on Twitter via hashtag, which is, I forgot. What's the hashtag?
It's Rapid Fire Scott.
Oh, Rapid Fire Scott.
Hashtag Rapid Fire Scott, and I'm actually running out of them.
Oh,
so
get some in then, guys.
Make a tweet, put Rapid Fire Scott in a hashtag. I have got a filter set up for it on my tweet deck. I see them all. None escape the eye of the Garrett jailer.
No.
I do not have a hole in my chest.
Oh my gosh, it just occurred to me that Eye of the Jailer thing is basically a Sauron thing, isn't it? That's what it is.
Wow, Scott. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Look how long it took me to figure that
I've been
out.
rewatching Lord of the Rings, so it's kind of been fresh in my mind.
I forgot all about that. All right. Anyway, sorry. Continue. So, that's the hashtag. Yeah. Rapid Fire Scott. It's not just my wrestling name in high school. It is an actual hashtag, and we're good to roll. Here are your questions that were provided to me to ask you today, and here they are. We each have 6 of them. Starhammer on Magtheridon says, have you ever farted in the workplace in front of a coworker? If so, please explain in detail, says this person, not me. I don't want to know.
If I'm certain I have, but in terms of explaining in detail, it must not have been that memorable, because I don't freaking know.
All right, that's good. It's actually a better answer than not. I'm giving you a correct on that.
I have I have distinct memories of employees complaining after I used a restroom.
Well, we've all dropped our bombs at different times. Benjamin on Blade's Edge says, he's in the chat today. Benjamin, how you doing? Anyway, who is the real villains in Shadowlands, and why is it the Ascended? What do you think of
that? I have a pet peeve for questions asked in that way.
Oh,
yeah, and why is it blank? I want to do anything but actually react to your question.
It's your rebellious nature. It's your punk rock
So I'm going to go with
attitude.
It's Flight Masters, because those bastards could spread out a little more.
I freaking agree. Valteri on Earthen Ring says, Garrett, would you rather spoil the end of Shadowlands for Patrick or make Scott do Fortnite dances for TikTok while wearing a scarf?
Oh, man. I would definitely rather spoil the end of Shadowlands for Patrick.
I'm glad you answered that way, because I don't
if for no other reason than it's because I truly believe he will never actually see it himself.
There you go. This is all true. Next up, we have Bane on Stormcastle, or Storm Scale, rather. There is no Stormcastle. He says, all I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper coffee copper pot. How about you? I think he was just trying to trip me up, but you can answer if you want to. And it works.
I have recently started doing the slow pour thing, but it ain't no copper. No, I ain't got time for that.
Correct. Next question from Dark Main on Silvermoon. Darksaber or Frostmourne? I know, this is like asking... Oh, really? Frostmourne still?
Frostmourne, without even blinking.
I mean, I think from a Frostmourne can command a lot of business.
I don't think the Darksaber is that very a cool design. I don't actually like it that much.
Well, plus it's
one of my least favorite lightsaber designs.
Right, but you even just said it kind of. It's another lightsaber. It's a different design. It's got this voidy black thing going on, all that stuff. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's
by the way, the last week's episode, the ignition when a certain character, or sorry, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, when a certain character in a cape that we might recognize from Breaking Bad ignited the Darksaber, it looked like someone Control-T'd in Photoshop.
Oh, right.
And didn't hold down shift. Like, it looked like it just squashed from the tiniest version of its shape to the size it should have been. It's the worst effect in the history of The Mandalorian, and it made me really angry.
I kind of have to agree. I didn't like that.
It's horrendous.
Yeah, there was that moment. There was a moment where I noticed that and went, ugh. And then
I was listen, I do a lot of videography nowadays. I do not do special effects. I could have done that better.
I think I could have as well. That was really bad. Frostmourne also can command a giant undead army, so...
Yeah, dude, I want to take people's souls.
Yeah, I get you. Final question. We have Sorkman on the Garage server. He says, chili dog or corn dog?
Corn dogs are the worst thing ever. So chili dog, please.
Whoa,
thank you.
Hold on now. Worst thing ever. The judges say no. There are worse things than corn dogs, but I would still take a chili dog over a corn dog as well.
I mean, this is an age-old fight between my wife and I, because she loves corn dogs, but I detest them with a deep, dark region of my soul.
I could kill a box of corn dogs. Oh my gosh, that sounds so good. All right, well, I'm with your wife. Now the tables have turned. The shoe is on the other foot. Ask me your questions.
Das Herg wants to know if 2020 were a raid, what raid would it be, Scott?
What raid did I really hate? What was the one in... Was it BFA? Hold on. Or Warlords? No, it's Warlords. What's the one with all the fire in it? There's one, the big...
Blackrock Foundry?
Yes, I hated Foundry. Hated it.
Oh, Foundry was kind of cool.
No. I mean, I love the look of it and the idea of it and all the stuff. Like the tone of it is rad. I thought the mechanics of that raid sucked. I hated it. Did not enjoy it. Yeah, I fell off of that raid. I didn't like it.
I still to this day think High Mall is one of the worst raids I've ever played.
High Mall had so much like... I don't know, they were trying something different there with High Mall. I liked High Mall.
Yeah, everything was brown and rocks.
Yeah, also Siege of Orgrimmar is a pain in the ass. So any of those work.
Yeah, Siege of Orgrimmar is kind of cool, though.
Yeah, it has its moments.
I mean, it's clearly the Plague Wing from Naxxramas, but yeah.
That's a good point. All right, I answered that correctly. How about number 2?
At Chase D. Moore wants to know, what covenants would Frog Pants House join in real life?
In real life, if these existed?
Yeah.
Probably still Ardenweald, I think. I think that's our vibe. We're not.
We need. Okay, all right. So Ardenweald. Let's. What about
Bastion.
like Brian Ibbett? Where would he go?
Oh, I think he'd also do Ardenweald.
Tom Merritt.
Bastion.
Doing rapid fire within a rapid fire. Okay,
Yes,
me.
good. You.
Doesn't matter what I actually picked.
Revendreth.
Okay. Yeah. I
This
think that all checks.
right?
That all checks out.
Yeah. There's only 4, but there feels like there's a covenant for everybody's personality type.
Mm-hmm.
And
I dig it.
If it's pretty.
I dig
good.
it.
Maldraxxus if I'm in a bad mood, but generally, yeah. Ardenweald.
At Austentaneous wants to know, do you regret buying the last gen console version of Cyberpunk instead of the PC version?
No, because I ended up getting a code for the PC version. So as of today, I have the PC version, which is where I'm going to play it. And the console version, I've decided, since Microsoft announced today, just like PlayStation did a few days before, they're going to allow refunds. So I'm going to refund the console version. And so what ended up happening in the end is I got the better version, the PC version, for free. So I have no regrets about anything. I'm good. No regrets, baby.
Scott is a realist.
That's right.
That's what I like about you. At Critigree asks, it's Activision Investors Day and Blizzard are announcing an original series based in the Warcraft universe. What is the weirdest, most niche series they could announce?
Oh my gosh, dude. I mean,
by the way, Critigree actually wanted to know 10 series, and I was like, no, I'm editing this. That's too many.
That's too many, yeah. That's the problem, is there's so many possibilities, and I don't want to just go to this, someone's going to say Hogger, and no, we don't want Hogger. Because that's just a funny thing to say. Yeah, I'd say like the Society of Murlocs. Oh, someone in the chat just said Murlocs. I'd say a Society of Murlocs, kind of like, not Smurfs, but it's a similar thing where it's sort of a hierarchy, and there's a King Murloc, and it's all animated. We're going to animate this thing, and it's going to be goofy and for kids, and that's what I want.
Like those 2 live-action Ewok movies they made.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, kind of like
the
that.
Worst child actors on God's green earth hanging out with people in Murloc costumes.
Yeah, except good. I want it to be good. I don't want to waste it and be bad. So yeah, Mancrick's wife, close second. Nice call there. Anyway.
Ad Fixing No One wants to know, what was your favorite WoW celebrity commercial?
I assume the new one even counts as a candidate because there's a bunch of celebrities in it. Gonna go with oh geez, I gotta remind myself who did those besides Shatner. Oh, Mr. T, the Mr. T one. I like that one.
I like the Ozzy Osbourne one.
Oh, that was good too, yeah.
I like how much his undead character actually looks like him.
Yeah, there's a way to make a warlock in the undead that looks just like Ozzy, and they knew it, so they used him for it. But I'm pretty sure I liked the one with the Mr. T the most, because I don't know, Mr. T, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. All right, final one. At A. Matt Brandt, and as always, I will end with the hardest hitting question, Scott.
Great.
Matt wants to know, how much chewing can we expect from you on this week's There Will Be Dungeons?
All right, I'll admit it. I usually mute the microphone, but I'll get a bowl of sunflower seeds, or D&D for me is snack time. It always is. So it's hard for me not to sort of fiddle eat while I'm playing. But I can tell you that this week's There Will Be Dungeons will feature 0 chewing on my part. None. Zip. Nada. Because I have a dinner thing after that I have to like save myself for. That's
Dude, tabletop role-playing is absolutely for snacks.
Yeah, and we've said this on the show.
100%.
We early said this on that show. We said, just so everyone knows, sometimes people are going to be eating or drinking or whatever they're going to do. That's just how this is. So, D&D snacks.
It's a real live play. None of this fake, super well-edited live play.
Yeah, that's garbage. Nobody does that and lives. All right? Well done, everybody. Yeah. Great questions as usual. Please keep those coming because we love them. Now this.
Mr. Johnson, I have questions.
Well, Mr. Metz and I have some answers. People sent us an email via theinstance@gmail.com. You're all encouraged to do it as often and as much as you want. And you can ask us any kind of hard question you want. I got this one from Woody, who says, hey, guys, wanted to chime in on Scott's complaint about mythics. One of the things that Disney parks do very well is theming. They try and make everything feel like it can be a natural place in the park or piece of the park. They integrate the mechanics of the park into the theme and blend the two so the experience is as immersive as possible. This is something Blizzard has done poorly when it comes to the mythic. The mechanics of the experience don't feel like they're part of that experience, and I think that's what Scott was picking up on. Thanks for the show. Keep up the good work, Woody. That is exactly what I'm saying. Don't like just what feels like random affixes in that environment. What I like is something that feels like the world's been messed with. So why I like the Memoron button was because it was in the world. You had to make a choice to use it. In essence, the effect is sort of the same, but I like that it's determined based on the theming of that place. And the Disneyland comparison's a really good one. So you nailed it, Woody.
I think you're both nuts and are missing the point entirely.
I disagree. I think you could take affixes in dungeons and you could say, this one's caused because you killed that guy first. He's my son. Now you're in real trouble. And then everything gets harder or whatever the hard thing is.
It's supposed to change every week and be dungeon wide.
Lame.
And you're describing hard mode for bosses. This is something that affects an entire dungeon.
Right.
This is apples and rockets that you're comparing. Like it could not be more unlinked.
Why couldn't they be themed to the dungeon you're in? Why couldn't it?
Because dude, do you know what an ask that is? So you can either just design a bunch of affixes that can be blanket applied to entire dungeons, or you then need to multiply that by however many dungeons currently exist in the game.
That's a fair point. Maybe there's a
huge ask.
There's a workflow
time.
problem here. I guess I'm not considering, but
yeah.
But I still say he's right as to what bugs me. He's right. It's just not very fixable. And I'm not confused as to what's bothering you. I'm confused as to why you're linking it to this. Yeah.
Like I'm with you on the Old War hard modes were the best ever. They were so cool.
Yeah.
But to me, they have no relation to Mythic Plus affixes.
Well, there you have it. The final word is I'm wrong about a thing that does bug me. Nailed it.
I see the link.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you're completely nuts,
No.
but I'm just like, it's different. And also like, I don't know. I'm trying to think about the realistic implications of being like, I want lore ramifications for each and every affix.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, that'd be
not going to happen. Yeah, you're not wrong. All right. There's the show. Hey, a reminder, the show is supported by you fine folks at home. And if you're wondering how to do that, you go to theinstance.net and sign up for it. It's a little custom thing we made. Gives you lots of benefits, including last week, y'all got a bonus show about Star Wars stuff. And the only way you got it was supporting us over there. So go check it out. That's theinstance.net. As usual, we have other projects going on. We'd like to give everybody a chance to mention those. Garrett, what's going on amove.tv schedule?
Oh, all of the things, but there's a new WoW killer out, and we did a lot more Torghast talk. Taliesin and I talked about what was eating at us in Torghast, and it's not just the dogs that are actually eating us. So you should go and check that out. And everything else is at amove.tv. Lots of Hearthstone updates this week. So I'll also give a shout out to Angry Chicken. So go subscribe to those shows.
The angriest of chickens. Go check that out. As always, there's plenty going on in the Frog Pants Network. If you're looking for comics and shows and other stuff, it's all there. Go check it out, frogpants.com. And so it looks like we're going to be off next week because it's the day after Christmas.
I'm
sorry.
Next week is actual Christmas.
Actual Christmas. So we're not going to be here next week, but we will be
Christmas Day.
Well, and we probably won't be here for New Year's either. But I think what'll happen is there may be some extra stuff up. If I get a chance to talk to Greg, for example, I will put up that interview as a separate thing. If that doesn't happen,
give me a poke on a weird day, man.
Yeah. Maybe we'll just throw something together.
You're bored. You got some WoW crap rattling around your brain you want to talk about. Give me a poke.
Sure. We'll get on and say, I still wish I could fly. And then you guys will get it. It'll be great. We'll see how it goes.
That's what the episode's going to be called.
I think that's it. Thank you all for listening, for watching, for hanging out with us, for being here. We love hanging out with you guys. We hope you like hanging out with us, especially all you guys that showed up today to be here live, because live is better than dead. And we love having you here. So stay alive, stay good, stay healthy. All those things, and look forward to a future that involves us meeting again here at the cornerstone of our lives, known as the Instance. That's going to do it for us. For me, for Garrett, for Patrick. We'll see you next time.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.